So out of respect for everyone's time, we'll go ahead and jump in. And again, we are really excited to afford this opportunity to our wind ensemble and chamber orchestra students. Performing and having performance tours is and has been a big part of the music department here at MVHS. And, with everything that's been happening with distance learning in 2020, we were happy to bring back the Pacific Basin Festival 2 years ago, and thrilled to be able to continue the tradition of excellence as far as having performance tours. Just wanted to also introduce my colleague, Jo Smith-Nielsen is with us today. Even though she doesn't teach wind ensemble or chamber orchestra, she will be accompanying us on the tour and guest conducting a few pieces. So she's a good face to get familiar with, just in case you can't reach me with any questions. If Jo doesn't have the answer, she'll definitely help you find it. So right off the bat, just wanted to kind of talk about why we take performance tours. And, simply put, we kind of the culmination of all the work that we do in class is for our concerts and our performances. It's the final exam, if you will, of all the work we've been doing during the quarter or during the semester. And taking these performance tours to perform for other communities in historic concert halls, having exchange concerts with other high school age students that are of our ability level, is taking that aspect of performance to the next level. And on top of that, it also gives us an opportunity to visit historic places, and maybe places that our students wouldn't visit on their own or on a vacation, and be able to explore different parts of the world or different parts of the country. And again, performance tours has been a rich part of the history here at MVHS. Pre-pandemic, the chamber orchestra went to Ireland and performed there. Our marching band had performed in the New Year's Day parade in London. So having these tours is and always has been a big part of the curriculum that we like to build here at MVHS. And wanted to take a minute to recognize our tour partners, World Projects. I've worked with World Projects for a number of years now, both before I arrived at Mountain View High, and then during my first couple years here. And I have to say, they are a world-class organization. They are buttoned up, they're super organized, they know exactly how to treat high school age students and their directors to provide the very best experience possible. Funny story, back in 2018, I took my Monte Vista students to Spain with Lynbrook High School, our sister school, and we had 3 planes split off with 200 students. And the middle plane, the one that was supposed to take off second, unfortunately never got off the ground. And so we had 2/3 of our students in Barcelona, while a third of our students and chaperones were still at SFO. And we had obviously had to pivot our plans that evening because we couldn't do a concert missing a third of our students. Well, World Projects took the initiative. They found activities for the students in Spain to do with no extra cost to the students, no extra stress on the directors. They just took it all upon themselves. We weren't just sitting in our hotel room that evening. We went out, we got some tours in, we visited some museums, and they all planned and coordinated that on the fly, which to me was super, super impressive. So again, it's sort of an indication of the professionals we're dealing with. So I'm 100% confident we're in good hands with World Projects. So tonight, I just wanted to present a very rough itinerary. And when I mean rough, I just want to say that, all activities are subject to change depending on scheduling and availability. But this is what is outlined from World Projects for what we can look forward to during this performance tour. And just to let you know, this is a balance between music educational activities and the more touristy fun activities as well. Our main focus is to broaden our musical horizons. It's not to go on vacation with our classmates. Although, it can't all just be work. So again, our main focus is our performance, the workshops, the exchange concerts, etc. And then we fill in the rest of the time with sightseeing, educational tours, museum visits, architecture tours, etc. So this is the main philosophy as far as how we build our itinerary and what we try to do and accomplish while we're there. So day one is simple enough, is mostly going to be our travel day. We will depart from SFO and we'll arrive at O'Hare International Airport, which is the main airport there in Chicago. We'll check into our hotel and then enjoy a group dinner. Because of the time difference, even though we may leave early in the morning, but we won't arrive and get settled in Chicago until late afternoon, early evening. So we try to keep that first day a little on the lighter side, again, given the time difference. Day two, we'll have a guided downtown Chicago tour, which the sites will include the Cloud Gate, which is the Bean, essentially, in downtown Chicago, Magnificent Mile, the Loop, etc. And then we'll have a performance tour. Each ensemble will have a separate clinician to workshop our ensemble and help work with the music that we would have prepared for the concert, just so we can have the very best concert possible. And that person will be of a collegiate level, teacher, educator, band, and orchestra director. Then after that, we'll head up to the observation deck at Willis Tower. I will always affectionately call it Sears Tower. The Willis Tower is strange vernacular for me, but that is what that big tall building is called. And then we'll have a concert attend a concert of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. So that will round out our first full day in Chicago. Day three is our performance day. We will have a matinee performance. Oh, sorry, left a typo there, but we'll have a matinee performance at the Chicago Symphony Hall and enjoy a group dinner with the other participants that will share that concert stage with us. And just to kind of give you a peek, this is what the main stage looks like at the Chicago Symphony Hall. It's one of the best, if not the best, acoustically sound auditoriums in the country. And I've attended many concerts here when I was a teenager into my early 20s. And the opportunity to perform in a space like this, again, doesn't really come along very regularly. So when World Projects presented this as an opportunity for us, I definitely wanted to jump in. Let's see, Justin, to answer your question, I do not know what's on the program for the Chicago Symphony Orchestra performance, but as soon as I know, I'll definitely pass that information on. Okay, moving on, day four, we'll visit the famed Chicago Field Museum. That is part of the museum park that they have there in Chicago. That includes, a lot of the destinations in downtown Chicago. And Field Museum is definitely the crown jewel of all the different museums that they offer. Then we'll go on an architecture cruise tour where we'll actually board a boat and we'll get to, sail up and down the Chicago River and, look at all of the different architectural buildings and landmarks that are along the Chicago River. We'll visit famous Navy Pier, and then we'll have an exchange concert with one of the local high schools in the area. And then finally, day five is our travel day back to SFO. So again, departure times haven't been booked or settled yet, but again, we'll be flying in and out of SFO on those days. So again, just wanted to give you all a rough look at what the day by day is going to look at. And again, the order of operations may change. We may have to shuffle some things around or replace, certain museum visits with another. Again, all depending on availability and scheduling. So just a brief overview again of what is included in the package tour. So you will get round trip airfare from SFO to Chicago International. Your first checked bag fee is included, and then they'll also include a fund for the second checked bag fee, which will pretty much be used for the instruments that we cannot carry onto the plane. Also includes a 4-night hotel accommodation, full-size touring coach bus for all of our transportation needs once we're on the ground in Chicago. World Projects also provides a tour guide per coach bus. So if we end up needing 2 coach buses, then they will provide two guides to accompany us on the trip. Then we've got the rental of any large or percussion instruments. Those are the instruments that we can't bring on the plane. So those rental fees are included in the package. All the costs of the workshops that we'll be doing, also the cost to rent the performance stage for the Chicago Symphony Hall. And then finally, all the admission fees of the tours and the museums, et cetera, that was outlined in the itinerary. Okay. So what's not included is the ground transportation to and from SFO. So students will be responsible to get themselves, or I'm sorry, parents, shall I say, will be responsible to get their students to SFO the day we depart and to pick them up the day that we return. We do not cover any excess baggage fees. So again, students will have their carry-on, one included checked bag, and that is what's covered. The meals that will not be included are essentially our lunches. So there's going to be 5 lunches that will be on your own, for the students. And then any laundry, room service, internet connection type of stuff at the hotel is not included. Okay. Let's see, got a couple questions here in the chat. Are cellos included in the large instruments? Yes, cellos are included. We are not going to risk bringing our cellos on the plane. Will students be sharing rooms? If so, how many to a room? So the rooming will be 4 students per room. And how rooming works is that we will ask students for preferences on who they would like to room with. We will do our very best to accommodate everyone's preferences, but we can guarantee that a student will be paired with at least one person from their preferred rooming list. Again, we'll do our best to accommodate the entire room, but at the very minimum, there will be at least one person that the student will be sharing with. And will the students be sharing beds? Well, that is really up to the students. There will be 2 queen beds per room. I know that on some performance tours, we've had students share beds. We've had them, like switch off between sleeping on the floor or sleeping, on the bed, however, whatever sleeping accommodation the students are most comfortable with is how that will be handled. Let's see. The trip runs into the Monday of spring break. May we join the students later to have a spring break in the Chicago area? Can we book a return flight to SFO and be back later in the week? The answer is yes. So if you would prefer, to meet us in Chicago and take your student, that is an option. However, the package that we purchase through World Projects is a round trip ticket. So if you choose to do that, your package won't be cheaper because you're only flying one way with us. When World Projects purchases the group tickets, it's always as a round trip ticket. But again, if you would choose to meet us there and then take your student, that is possible. Okay, circling back around to cost, the cost of the 2024 Chicago Performance Tour is $2,400, and that includes everything that was outlined in the itinerary and in the what's included cost. For the payment schedule, we're asking for the first 600 on October 2nd, which is a week from yesterday, and then another 800 on December 1st, and then the remaining balance on February 1st. So that will be the payment schedule. If you need to have an alternate or an altered payment schedule, we are open to that. So, feel free to reach out to me with any of those concerns, and we can work something out. Okay, and just finally, a couple reminders. This is an optional field trip. There isn't anything tied to students' grades on this. A student won't be penalized for non-participation. This is 100% optional. However, we do aim to have as close to 100% participation as possible, because every voice in the ensemble is important. Every instrument is important. And if we want to perform our very best, that is only possible if we have as many students as we can join us on the tour. So again, we hope that A, it works out schedule wise, B, it works out financially, and this is something that you would value for your students. The Instrumental Music Parents Association has set aside some funds to provide for financial assistance for families in need. So if you feel that this would cause significant financial hardship for you, we do have some scholarships available. All of those requests will be kept 100% private. It will be confidential between those parties and myself. So, don't feel that that cost would hopefully. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is we hope that cost won't be an issue as far as whether or not you decide for your student to participate. And it is our goal to have every student that wants to be on the tour. And we will have some fundraising opportunities available later in the semester. And again, we have some scholarship funds available as well. Okay, and last but not least, please respond to the Parent Square form by October 2nd, even if your student isn't going to join us. Again, that's so I know, who is accounted for and who isn't. So again, please respond by October 2nd. Okay. And let's see, I saw some things here in the chat. I'm just going to go ahead and take a quick look. Let's see. How soon will you know which hotel the students will be staying at? Jackie, I don't have a timeline for that, but again, as soon as I know, I'll definitely push that out to all of the students and families. Let's see. Any plans to do fundraising for the trip? Yes. So we will be doing a mattress fundraiser, which is something that MVHS has done again pre-pandemic, that we're excited to bring back this coming December. And how that works is that if you can gain referrals for that mattress fundraiser, then a portion of those proceeds can go towards your tour and towards your trip. Also, the athletic department does the Christmas tree lot, and they have graciously invited Instrumental Music to participate in that fundraiser as well. I know they pay by the hour as far as volunteering your time with them. And again, 100% of those proceeds can go towards your performance tour as well. Let's see. Philip asked, I remember there was always a Spartan tree lot. Yes, yep, that's exactly what I was talking about. So, students are able to work in the Christmas tree lot to help earn funds. If a student happens to get COVID during the trip, would they travel back on their own, assuming they'll need quarantine? Yeah, that's a really good question. Joe, do you have any insight as far as
Yeah. So we'll never leave a child alone. I promise. Your kid will not be left in Chicago. If a student were to get COVID and needed to quarantine, either Ricky or myself would stay behind to ensure that they are taken care of. And then we would fly back together once that quarantine is over. There's always the option if parents want to fly out, if their child comes down with COVID and a parent wants to come out and take over that custody, relinquish, take over, then that is also an option. But it's not a requirement. Does that sound like that answered the question, Ricky?
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right, and let's see. Karen, she asked if a student gets sick before the trip, is the cost refundable? So the cost is refundable up to a certain date. And let's see, I believe I had it here on the, no, I did not, but yeah, the cost is refundable up to a certain date. Also, World Projects does offer, does have a relationship with a travel insurance company that if you wanted to purchase travel insurance, that is an option. In fact, when we went to Hawaii 2 years ago, it wasn't a requirement, but we very, 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 very strongly recommended it, considering it was, it was so close to the Omicron variant. So, but yes, travel insurance is available if you wanted to make that investment just in case. Okay. All right. So does anyone else have any questions as far as the itinerary, payment schedule, anything like that? Let's see. So if a child works in the Christmas tree lot, we subtract the earnings from the final payment. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Oh, yeah, thank you, Melissa. She posted the refundable or the refund policy through World Projects. The first payment is 50% is refundable through mid-November. The second payment is 50% refundable through January 15th, and then the final balance, that last payment is refundable through mid-February. Let's see. How many students per parent chaperone are you considering? So I think the perfect number would be 8 to 1 students to parents. So that means, we would have, so each parent would be responsible for essentially monitoring 2 rooms that are there. So that would be the most ideal situation. How many chaperones will you need? Yeah, so if we're anticipating, 60 some students, anywhere from 6 to 8 chaperones would be ideal. Is there an option to donate money to help students that are unable to cover the cost of the trip? Yes, absolutely. And thank you for asking that question, Wendy. It takes a village, and it's great that there are people out there that are willing to help other students pay for the cost of the tour. Thank you. Do you recommend picking up my student from the hotel or the airport if he doesn't travel back to SFO? That's a great question, Jackie. It doesn't really matter per se, as long as you check in with myself or with Joe, saying that you're taking Sean. But as far as where we meet, either is fine. I would imagine that the hotel will probably be more convenient for you. So again, whichever works for you and your family is fine. Is the cost the same for the chaperones? That's a great question, Craig. The answer is no, because chaperones typically stay 2 to a room as opposed to 4 to a room. So so the cost will be altered slightly because of the, you know, of the number of counts in the room. Let's see, assuming we will find out how families could attend the matinee performance. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, all that ticket information will be provided, you know, if families would choose to come to watch the concert. Absolutely. Any free time? So unlike Hawaii, where, you know, a lot of the schedule was free time since it was the beach. This tour is a lot more structured. I believe there's 2 evenings where there is some built-in free time, but it's not going to be a situation like it was in Honolulu, where we allowed students to go through, you know, to kind of wander across multiple city blocks. If it is free time, it'll mostly be contained within the hotel.
And adding on to that, you when we get closer to the trip, we will give very explicit guidelines for that free time so that you have a good understanding. And when we get there, we'll also explain the boundaries and show you exactly what that looks like and where you are. And we'll have chaperones helping us out with that.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. See, Angelin asked, for an additional cost, is there an option to share hotel rooms with fewer students? Yes, for an additional cost. So, you know, again, we just want to make it clear that, you know, we try to make this as cost effective as possible. And that's why the default rooming arrangement is 4 to a room, because that is one of the best ways to keep costs down, especially over the course of the 4 days. But you know, if students or families would prefer to be in smaller rooms, that can be arranged, but again, for an additional premium. Will the concert be recorded? That's a great question, Robin. I don't have an answer to that. I know that, you know, a lot of concert recordings can be subject to certain copyright rules and whatnot. So I'll double check with World Projects to see. And again, as soon as I get that information, I'll let families know. And is this the first trip to Chicago for the MVHS Orchestra? I believe it is. In fact, I believe it's the first trip for any Mountain View group to go to Chicago. Do you remember anything off the top of your head, Joe? If
That sounds right to me. I don't believe choir's been either in the last 25 years.
Yeah. So, and you know, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually from the Chicagoland area, and when I started talking with World Projects last spring about some performance tour opportunities, obviously, you know, Chicago was one of the cities that I had put in as a possibility for us, and it just so happened that they had this shared concert at the Chicago Symphony Hall already planned for April. So it was sort of serendipitous how they were like, oh, well, we have this opportunity for you if this is something you want to take advantage of. So so yeah, no, we're really excited to you know, to go and perform in such a gorgeous concert hall and take in all the sights and sounds and food that Chicago has to offer. Okay, are there any other questions, concerns, comments, qualms, queries? All right, well, I mean, I know that you all have my email address by now, so, but I just figured I'd put it on this last slide. Again, if you have any questions or concerns whatsoever, no question is too small or no concern is too small. We want to make sure that if you decide to send your students, then you know, you feel confident that this will be, you know, that this will be a good time for them. So let's see, a couple more questions here in the chat. Which evenings we have free time? I believe it's on this. It's on the. Hold on, let me go back here. Forgive me for some of my formatting issues here. I believe day 3 is the day with free time, and possibly day 4, depending on what time the exchange concert is with the local high school. Clarifying, all breakfast and dinners are covered. Yes, yes. So all the breakfasts we will be having at the hotel, and it seems that all the dinners are covered as well. So it's mostly the lunches that will be on your own for students. And how much is travel insurance? I don't have a number on that, Karen, but I'll definitely send it out, and it is canceled for any reason. So are they going to accommodate reasonable dietary restrictions? Yes, yes. Okay, everyone. Again, I just want to thank you for joining us this evening. And again, if you have any other questions, let us know. Is the travel insurance through World Projects? No, it's through a separate insurance company that handles travel insurance. Okay, everyone. Well, again, I just want to say thank you, and feel free to shoot Joe or myself any emails with any questions regarding the tour. And again, please respond by October 2nd. Okay, please respond by October 2nd so we can get an accurate number to World Projects. All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks.